Okay, YouTube, this is John, Meigs County Metalworks, and I'd like to show you how I indicate a 4-jaw chuck. A little tip, I guess, for the way I do it that makes it easier. There's a secret to it that I have found is 2 chuck keys. Now, let me show you my setup I got going on here. My 4-jaw chuck is a 4-jaw hooked into my 3-jaw, and it works. It was a lot cheaper than buying a 4-jaw for this lathe. Was to buy this plain back 4-jaw, just 10-inch, 16-inch swing on this, so I'm able to flip the jaws around and chuck this up in the 3-jaw and use it and not have to tear stuff down. I can remove this, have a setup in this, remove this, and still have my 3-jaw pretty quickly. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this, or how I do this. I'm not a professional machinist. I only play one on TV. But what I do is, let's see if I can readjust here. I've been doing these parts here, several of them today, so I'm already pretty close on it. I put my mag stand down here on the way, on the lathe ways. It's got a nice little flat spot, and with this little indicator stand, it seems to be about the only place I can do it. So anyway, I've got my jaws labeled 1, 3, 4, and 2. And so I'm going to indicate 1 and 3 together, snugly, flip it over, do 4 and 2 together, snugly, get it close, and then tighten from there. These parts ain't got to be super duper tight. I'm just facing 2 little shoulders on here. So they ain't got to be super duper tight, but, you know, tight enough that I don't want them to fly out on me. So what I've got here, we'll come around to 1 first. Zero out my indicator. Flip it over to 3, and I only have about 5 thousandths right there. So I'll take my 1 chuck key on this side and my 1 chuck key on this side, so I will loosen this one and tighten this one at the same time and bring it about 2.5 or so, and kind of snug both of them together. Using the 2 chuck keys seems to work a lot better because you're not fighting it back and forth like you would with 1. So come around to 2, 3, 0, flip it to 4. Okay, so I'm about 15 thousandths this way. Yes, I'm about 15 thousandths this way. So we'll come back about 7.5. Again, I'm tightening this one, loosening this one, until I get it close, and then snug both of them at the same time. We'll re-zero, spin it back to 2 to check, and I'm still about 1/1000 out. 1 to 3 is showing me about 2/1000 out. So I'll start there with 3, and I'll snug it about 1/1000. Come over to 1, check it. I still need about 1/1000 there, so I'll snug it back to 0. Check 2. It's pretty well on 0. Check 4. It's about 1/1000 this way, so I'll go back to 2. Snug it till it's about 1/1000. Back to 4. Yeah, we're pretty good there. Maybe a 1/2 Check 3. Pretty good. Check 1. And 3 needs to snug about a 1/2. Check 1. Not bad. Back to 3. Check it again. Not bad. 0. And this part here has got it's not exactly the smoothest in the world. I didn't get a good finish when I turned it down. But that's all right. So that is showing me within a 1/1000th. See if I can get a decent shot of that. Yeah, it's going to be hard to see that white face gauge. And I can live with it. Anyway, YouTube, that's how I center a 4-jaw chuck and indicate a 4-jaw chuck. I've been doing it for a while like that, and it seems to work. Seems to get me to what I need to do. Like I said, I'm not a actual machinist, but I know there's going to be questions about why I use a 4-jaw instead of just using the 3-jaw to turn a square shoulder on a round part. You know, there's no real reason to use a 4-jaw. The 3-jaw would have been much quicker, much easier to set up. I'm going to show you what I'm making, and perhaps you'll understand why it was easier to use the 4-jaw, because I could retain the same dimensions easier on the parts. So I'll take you over here to my little, what I call a print. This is what I get for a print. It's a round rod. There's a 10mm hex on one end. These are two different size parts, a smaller and a larger. The 10mm hex I'm going to do with a super spacer on the mill. Perhaps I'll make a video of doing that too once I figure out how I'm going to do it. And the reason for the 4-jaw is this guy right here on the end. It's an elliptical, it's an offset. It sets over about 200,000th, I think it is, center line. And so I could retain the same dimensions with the 4-jaw and just simply move it left, right, up, down, whichever way I wanted to get my offset. So here's the parts. Fall out of the chair, sit down, yeah. Ease you up a little bit. You see it better. So here's the parts. This is the one I had in the forejaw, and the two shoulders I was turning. And this is the little offset there. Now, if I continue to make these parts, perhaps I will set up the forejaw and make me like a collar. You know, something round out of brass, aluminum. Put my elliptical hole with this bore, maybe split it, and then perhaps a set screw to hold the parts in place, and then I can just chuck this into the 3-jaw and not have to mess with offsets doing it in the 4-jaw. So that's why I was using the 4-jaw. I just wanted to clarify that a bit, and perhaps I'll show you when I get them all done and make another video of the turning the little 10mm hex, machining it with the super spacer, the indexer in the mill. Y'all have a good one.